Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. The girl in the white dress stood on the rooftop of the hotel. The hem of her dress was already stained with deep red dried blood. Tears streamed down her face as she trembled on the verge of collapse. I turned to look at Ethan. He was staring intently at the rooftop, his fingers unconsciously rubbing together in nervous agitation, his entire body rigid. At that moment, I suddenly realized I had been reborn back to my wedding day, the day my nightmare began. Before Ethan could turn and run, I acted on instinct, ignoring everything else and grabbing his arm. "Ethan, where are you going?" His expression darkened with impatience. "Can't you see someone's about to jump? I'm going to help." I tightened my grip, refusing to let go. In my previous life, after Ethan ran off, he never came back. The next time I saw him, he was holding Lily in his arms, walking away without even looking back. The ambulance had long since left, and no one had given me any explanation. I had been left alone to clean up the mess of the wedding. I had thought that if I just waited and listened to his explanation, things could still be salvaged. But before I could do anything, a video from that day had already been posted online. The internet labeled me the homewrecker who had stolen another woman's man, forcing his real fiancée to the brink of suicide. I was the villain who had supposedly caused a pregnant woman to lose her child. And now that a life had been lost, the male lead finally had his grand epiphany. The prodigal son had seen the light and returned to his true love. Meanwhile, I, the despicable mistress, had lost everything, reduced to a laughingstock at my own wedding. A tidal wave of hate crashed down on me. No matter how many times I tried to explain the truth online, it didn't matter. No one believed me. They only believed the edited videos they saw. They used their moral outrage to tear me apart, condemning me with vicious insults, celebrating my downfall. I had confronted Ethan and Lily, demanding they tell the truth and clear my name, but all I got in return were 2 words. "You deserved it." Lily no longer looked weak and pitiful like she had on that rooftop. She tilted my chin up with an air of superiority, smirking. "You really think you can compete with me for Ethan? Look at yourself. Do you even deserve him? Everything that happened was your own fault. You got what was coming to you. Why would I ever help you clear your name?" Then she turned to Ethan and clung to his arm. "Ethan, you're not going to help her either, right? She almost became your bride. Surely you wouldn't actually feel bad for her." Ethan took her hand gently and wiped it with a wet tissue, the same hand that had just touched mine. "Lily, I've explained this to you so many times already," he said in a soft, doting voice. "From beginning to end, you are the only one I've ever loved. You are the only one I care about. Anyone or anything you don't like, I won't even touch. The wedding was just for show to make you jealous. How was I supposed to know you'd suddenly disappear and make me chase after you?" At that moment, I finally understood I had never been anything more than a pawn in their little love game. A tool they used to showcase their deep, unshakable love for each other. My life, my family's lives, none of it had ever mattered to them. In the end, my father died of a heart attack brought on by the stress. My mother, after witnessing my father's death with her own eyes, fell into severe depression. As for me, running around trying to handle everything, unable to rest, I ended up in a car accident. The day I died, Ethan and Lily were celebrating their grand wedding. On stage, they exchanged rings and vows, basking in their perfect love. Meanwhile, my family had been destroyed. I had lost everything I held dear. They had stepped over my corpse and my family's ruins, turning it all into nothing more than a backdrop for their tragic romance. And then they shamelessly enjoyed their happily ever after. How ridiculous. This time I was going to make sure they paid. I tightened my grip on Ethan's arm, refusing to let him leave. His face flushed with urgency, the veins at his temple visibly pulsing, but I remained perfectly calm, staring at him with an icy gaze. "You know that girl on the rooftop, don't you? Why is she calling me a homewrecker? Why is she saying I killed her child? Ethan, don't you think you owe me an explanation?" Under the watchful eyes of our family and friends, he didn't dare admit he knew her. Instead, he turned it all back on me. "I don't know her," he said coldly. "Who knows, maybe you fooled around with someone else's husband before, and now she's here for revenge. I don't think we need to continue this wedding. My family values integrity above all else." We would never marry a woman with such a disgraceful past. I couldn't help but laugh. Back then it had been Ethan who pursued me first. It was Ethan who proposed after 6 months of dating. I had never once forced him to be with me, and yet here he was, throwing me under the bus without a second thought. He used me to stage a wedding just to make Lily anxious enough to come back on her own, and yet he still expected me to take the fall, to bear the shame and humiliation for them. How utterly shameless. You don't know her? I asked coldly. Then why are you so anxious? Jumping off a building isn't a trivial matter. I think we should just call the police. I pulled out my phone ready to dial. Smack! Ethan slapped my phone out of my hand with force. It flew across the floor with a loud clatter. His eyes darkened, his voice turning ice cold. What the hell are you doing? He snapped. Are you trying to push her to her death? If anything happens to her, it'll be your fault. Won't you feel even a little guilty? How can you be so heartless and cruel? Summer, the sheer audacity of his words made my best friend snap. She stepped forward, ready to tear into him, but I pulled her back behind me, locking eyes with Ethan. I'm cruel. I scoffed. It's my wedding day and suddenly a complete stranger pairs screaming that I'm a homewrecker and I'm not supposed to call the police. Before he could argue, I continued. Fine, let's say I put human life first. Let's say I ignore the fact that she's slandering me. But if I come across someone about to jump off a building, how exactly is calling the police wrong? Even elementary school kids know that's what you're supposed to do. He was completely speechless, his face turning an ugly shade of red. But instead of answering me, he grabbed my wrist tightly, stopping me from retrieving my phone. I tried to shake him off twice, but his grip only tightened, sending a sharp pain up my arm. I had no choice but to signal my best friend with a subtle glance. She caught on immediately, quietly slipping away from the crowd to make the call herself. The police arrived quickly, coordinating with the necessary departments. They dispersed the crowd, moved bystanders away, and began negotiations with Lily on the rooftop. Everything was finally under control. I also had my cousin take my parents home first. They had been scared out of their minds. Today, the wedding was obviously ruined, and there was no point in making them stay and worry. It was better for them to rest. Ethan was starting to panic, and so was Lily. Before anyone could even reach the rooftop to talk her down, she climbed down on her own, tail between her legs. In the end, we were all taken to the police station to give our statements. Ethan had originally planned to feign ignorance, to pretend he didn't know Lily and brush the whole thing off. But she was crying so hysterically that his heart ached for her. Without thinking, he instinctively pulled her into his arms. That single moment was all it took for the truth to be laid bare under the pitying gazes of everyone around us. I spoke up. Can I sue Ethan for marriage fraud? I asked calmly. Then I pointed at Lily. And as for her, I don't know her, but she spread false rumors and slandered me. I want to press charges against her too. Ethan immediately stepped in front of Lily, shielding her with his body. His expression darkened as he glared at me. Summer, dragging everyone to the police station wasn't enough for you, he growled. Don't push it. Don't go too far, or else I won't be so nice to you. I let out a small amused smirk. I didn't even bother responding to him. Instead, I turned to the officer. Officer, you heard him, I said plainly. Not only did he deceive me into a fraudulent marriage, he's now openly threatening me in a police station. Faced with the police, Ethan had no choice but to back down. Under their stern questioning, he was finally forced to spill the truth. Ethan and Lily had been dating in the past, but his mother strongly disapproved of her. She felt Lily's family background was bad and her upbringing was even worse. In an attempt to separate them, she had offered Lily $20,000 to leave Ethan. Lily took offense, feeling that such a small sum was an insult to her dignity. So instead she ran off pregnant. Ed agreed to an arranged date with me. Part of it was to appease his mother to reduce the pressure on himself, but another part of it was pure desperation. He had lost all contact with Lily and was hoping that by moving forward with another woman, he could force her out of hiding. But Lily had vanished so completely that she didn't even return until she had already lost the baby. Now she had finally reappeared, standing on a rooftop covered in blood with the truth finally exposed. I felt a strange sense of clarity for the first time since my rebirth. It truly sank in. I had come back to the past. In my previous life, I had been slandered as a homewrecker, hated by all, and my biggest regret had been not calling the police. Because of that mistake, Ethan and Lily had been able to twist the story however they pleased. They had edited the footage from that day, carefully cutting and rearranging scenes to make me the villain. By the time I tried to defend myself, the damage was already done. No one believed me. I had no solid evidence, no way to clear my name. But now, I had an official police record of everything that happened. They thought they could pull the same trick again, but it wouldn't be that easy this time. When I got home, I explained everything to my parents. They wiped their tears, heartbroken for me, while cursing Ethan for being a two-faced bastard. My parents had never been ones to argue with others. They had hardly ever spoken a harsh word their entire lives. But that night, they let out enough curses to last a lifetime. The next day, Ethan sent me a bill. An itemized list of all the wedding expenses. Everything that had been specifically for me was highlighted separately. The total was close to $1 million. My family had put their heart and soul into this wedding. From my dress to the entire wedding team. Every detail had been carefully chosen. Of course, nothing had been cheap, but from the very beginning, it had been agreed that Ethan wouldn't have to pay for any of it. Attached to the bill was his bank account number. Then my phone rang. His voice was cold and indifferent. "You saw the bill, right? Double-check everything and transfer your share. Don't waste my time." I rolled my eyes. This was our wedding. The money obviously came from my family. "After everything that's happened, you actually have the nerve to ask me for money?" Before Ethan could respond, another voice cut in, sharp and mocking. "Summer, you are so shameless. If you spent the money, you should pay for it yourself. What, didn't manage to seduce Ethan? So now you're trying to scam him for cash? Keep dreaming. If you dare to weasel out of this, I'll make you pay another way." Before I could say a word, the call was cut off. I was so furious my chest ached. Those two were just as despicable as they had been in my past life. There was no way in hell I was paying them a dime. I wanted to see exactly how they planned to make me pay. That night, my best friend called me in a panic, sending me a link to the wedding. The video had made its way online. This time, I wasn't labeled a homewrecker. Instead, they accused me of stopping the groom from saving a life, cold-blooded and selfish. The footage had been carefully edited, zooming in on the moment I gripped Ethan's arm, refusing to let go. The captions painted me as a greedy gold digger, marrying for money, and now that the wedding had fallen apart, I was supposedly extorting Ethan for over $1 million. I watched the entire video from beginning to end. Ethan and Lily's faces were blurred out. Only mine was shown in full. In my past life, I had thought that the wedding footage going viral had been an accident. After all, the venue had been packed with people. And with so many eyes and cameras around, it had been impossible to control what got leaked. But later, when I had tried to clear my name, I accidentally found out it had all been orchestrated by Lily. She had paid to boost the video's reach. Now the internet was on fire, the hate rolling in like a storm. This woman is insane. She didn't try to save anyone. But she wouldn't let anyone else help either. Disgusting. Look how desperate she was. Scared to death her rich fiancé would slip away. Couldn't even have the wedding, so now she's trying to squeeze money out of the guy. Pathetic. I ignored all of it. Instead, I called my cousin immediately, asking him to take my parents abroad for a while. As long as they were safe and out of the public eye, I could deal with Ethan and Lily properly. I had thought that after the spectacle, those two would lay low for a while, that they'd at least wait and see how public opinion played out. I was wrong. The very next afternoon, Lily showed up at my office. She was still wearing that same white dress from the wedding day. Now, after several days, the dried blood stains on the hem looked even darker and more horrifying. As soon as I stepped outside, she threw herself at my feet, kneeling dramatically. Tears streamed down her face as she sobbed. "Miss Summer, I was wrong. Please forgive me. I didn't mean to ruin your wedding, I swear. Ethan and I knew each other first. We even had a child together." She lifted her dress. "Look, my baby. He never even got to see this world before he was gone. Please, Miss Summer, if you want to blame someone, blame me. Just return the money to Ethan, okay? $100,000 isn't a small amount. I'm just an ordinary person. I can't afford it. I had barely processed what was happening when she flung herself at me. Caught off guard, I instinctively glanced around. As expected, there were people hiding in the crowd. Several of them were holding up cameras, recording every second of this performance. Ethan probably didn't actually care about the money. This was never about the money. He just wanted to use this to completely destroy me, to paint himself as the victim, to claim the moral high ground. I tried to pull her up a few times, but Lily clung to the ground like her life depended on it. With my strength alone, there was no way I could lift her. "Miss Summer," she sobbed. Trembling, "I know you caused me to lose my child, but I don't hate you. I know it was just because you love Ethan too much that you used the wrong methods. I'm only begging you, please return the $100,000 to the Morgan family. It was me who ruined your wedding. It has nothing to do with them. My baby's life is already gone. Let that be my repayment to you. If that's not enough, then take my life too. I'll give you my life as well." "Okay," she choked on her sobs, trying desperately to bow her head to me. $100,000 means nothing to you," she continued. "But for someone like me, it's too much. I can't afford it." I watched her performance unfold, and for a moment I had to admit I was impressed. With talent like this, she could easily make it big in the entertainment industry. Why was she still so hell-bent on clinging to Ethan? "Young lady, let it go." A voice suddenly chimed in from the crowd. "She's already at this point. Just let her be. Have some compassion. You shouldn't do things that go against your conscience. Cheating people out of money will only bring you bad karma. Just give the money back already." Yeah, what kind of parents raise a child to borrow money and not return it? How shameless. The murmurs around us grew louder, the crowd turning against me as if siding with her was the only way to be righteous. Lily glanced at me from beneath her teary lashes, her eyes full of anticipation. She was waiting for me to get angry, waiting for me to yell at her, to lash out, waiting for me to fall into the same trap as before, where no matter how much I tried to explain, people would doubt my words first. So this was her plan, using public opinion against me again. But since she had made her move, it was my turn now. Called 2 of my employees over. They grabbed Lily and pulled her up off the ground, ignoring her struggling. I gently wiped away her tears, smoothed out her hair, and smiled warmly. "Miss Lily," I said softly, "even though my wedding was ruined, I never once blamed you. In fact, I should thank you." I took her hand, holding it sincerely. "If you hadn't gone to the rooftop that day and put on such a performance, I never would have found out that Ethan was nothing but a lying, cheating scumbag. One moment he was entangled with you, even having a child together. The next he was going on arranged dates with me, swearing he was single. I should be grateful to you. You were brave enough to reveal the truth." I looked at her with the most heartfelt expression, my smile soft and warm. Lily's face paled, panicked. She stammered, "No, that's not true. It wasn't an act. Ethan isn't a cheater." I cut her off. As for the $100,000, I let out a long sigh, covering my mouth in faint surprise. "That's between Ethan and me. It has nothing to do with you, so why are you dragging yourself into it?" I gasped dramatically, eyes widening. "Lily, Ethan wouldn't actually be heartless enough to push this debt onto you, would he? Is he forcing you to take responsibility for the money?" Lily opened her mouth to respond, but I was quicker. "See, I knew it." I sighed again. "He really is just trash, but don't worry, you don't need to get involved. I've already handed everything over to my lawyer. They'll be contacting him soon to give him a proper legal education." I tilted my head slightly, smiling. "If you're free, Miss Lily, you're welcome to sit in and listen." Her expression darkened. She knew she had lost. I hadn't taken the bait. I hadn't gotten angry, and the crowd, though still uncertain, was no longer blindly defending her. She had failed to get the footage she wanted. I had no interest in dragging this on. With a wave of my hand, I ordered security to disperse the crowd. I even graciously called a car to take her home. Later, I heard that on her way back, Lily had received a call. Furious, she screamed at the person on the other end, something about how none of the footage from today could be used and how they'd have to try again another time. But the person on the other line insisted she still had to pay them in full. Enraged, she smashed her phone. Little did she know, when she got home, I had an even bigger surprise waiting for her. She may not have gotten the footage she wanted, but I had already recorded everything I needed. Even before she made it back, I had my team edit the video and release it online, tying it directly to the trending topics they had paid for without spending a single cent. I let them enjoy the free publicity they had created. I made sure that the moment Ethan got home, his name would be trending alongside it. I uploaded the police report from the wedding day, detailing exactly what had happened. I didn't even need to manipulate public opinion. The tide shifted instantly. The same people who had defended Ethan and Lily before were now the ones tearing them apart the most. These two really think they're in a drama series, huh? Damn. A runaway pregnant ex and a scam artist groom? Never seen something this wild before. Miss Bry, please stay far away from them. Who knows what's next?
Organ harvesting. A tragique car accident?
A forced miscarriage? You might not even survive at this rate. Reading that last comment, my heart clenched because in my past life, that was exactly what had happened to me. Who would have thought reality could play out just like a novel? Except in this story, their love had been glorified. And I, the expendable side character, had been completely sacrificed. This entire mess had opened people's eyes. Now everyone was calling for them to just get married already, so they wouldn't end up ruining anyone else's life. That night, Lily couldn't take the mockery anymore. She posted 3 furious updates in a row. Ethan is not a scumbag. We were together first. Summer is the real homewrecker. Why are you all attacking me instead of her? Are you all brainless? So what if I ran away pregnant? I am the main character of this love story. You're all just jealous you can't do it too. The books all say it. People like you are just cannon fodder. If you don't start treating me better, no. You'll only end up beneath my feet later. If she had just kept quiet, she might have been able to ride out the storm. But with that attitude, she had basically handed the internet a loaded gun. The backlash was instant and brutal. Of course, I wasn't going to let Ethan stay hidden either. I quickly hired a wave of bots to tag him nonstop for 24 hours straight, dragging him into the fire with her. Less than 3 days later, he showed up at my doorstep. Summer, he started, his voice uncharacteristically soft. That was my fault. Can you explain things to the netizens for a moment? I froze. That name, that tone, it felt like déjà vu. I had never planned to marry Ethan so soon, but one night months ago, I had picked him up after he got drunk. All night long, he had clung to me, murmuring that name, Lily. At the time, I hadn't known this Lily even existed. I had thought he was just being affectionate, that maybe over time he had actually fallen for me. That was why, when he proposed, I hadn't hesitated. Hearing it again now made me sick to my stomach. I frowned. Explain what? Looking awkward, he rubbed the back of his neck. Just say that our marriage was fake, he muttered. That we only got engaged to appease our families. That way, people won't keep calling me a two-timing scumbag. He sighed, looking exhausted. My mom's blood pressure has been through the roof. The whole family is a mess. I haven't been able to sleep for days dealing with this disaster. It's been hell for me. You don't want to see me suffer like this, do you? After all, we almost became husband and wife. 100 days of kindness for one day as a couple. You should help me out just this once. That did it. I burst out laughing. It was so ridiculous I couldn't hold it in. Ethan, I never knew your skin was this thick. How do you even dare to bring up the fact that we almost got married in broad daylight? You seriously need to wake up. I'm not helping you. His expression darkened. Seeing my firm refusal, he tried to grab my hand. I swiftly stepped back, dodging his touch. Then I turned and called the patrolling security guard. Without hesitation, they escorted him out of the complex. So he was miserable from losing sleep and dealing with his chaotic family, and he thought that was suffering? In my past life, my entire family had been destroyed, and he had laughed at me for deserving it. Funny how people only realized pain when it happened to them. Even without my help, the issue resolved itself that night, though I had to admit Ethan's method truly surprised me. That evening, his father, Mr. Morgan, hosted a live stream. In it, he recounted Ethan's entire relationship with me, from our arranged date to our almost wedding. Midway through, Ethan himself teared up. He swore up and down that his feelings for me had been real, that he had genuinely wanted to marry me. When viewers asked about Lily's pregnancy, he took a deep breath, covered his face, and sobbed for a long dramatic moment. When he still couldn't gather himself, his fat her stepped in to answer for him that day. Summer and Ethan had a small argument over something trivial. Ethan was in a bad mood and drank too much at a bar. Lily took advantage of the situation and drugged him. This incident caused Ethan immense pain for a long time, and we never dared to tell Summer, afraid she would feel guilty because of it. I nearly laughed out loud. So now they were pushing all the blame onto Lily while clearing Ethan's name. They were conveniently dragging me through the mud, painting Ethan as the deeply devoted man, me as the petty and unreasonable ex, and leaving Lily as the ultimate scapegoat. Just like that, Ethan had successfully rebranded himself as the perfect man in the eyes of the internet. Lily, on the other hand, was now being cursed even more viciously. In the end, the real villain came out unscathed. I waited, expecting Lily to come forward and defend herself, but she didn't. I had no idea why she agreed to let Ethan throw her under the bus like that, but soon enough, Ethan gave me the answer himself. He sent me a message Monday morning. Civil Affairs Bureau, bring your documents. We're finalizing the divorce. Before our wedding, Ethan's mother had insisted we register our marriage first. I hadn't cared about the timing. Ethan had hesitated at first, but after some resistance, he gave in. His mother had never liked Lily and had wanted to secure me as his wife as quickly as possible, but she had severely underestimated both Ethan and Lily. To them, that marriage certificate had been nothing more than a meaningless piece of paper in the face of their great love. Morals, ethics, and even other people's lives meant nothing. Now the Morgan family had given Lily an ultimatum. If she wanted to marry Ethan, she had to take the fall alone. Ethan may have felt sorry for her, but in the end, her willingness to sacrifice herself made it easy for him to compromise. At last, they were getting what they wanted. Monday arrived. After finalizing the paperwork, Ethan and I walked out of the Civil Affairs Bureau. Before I could take another step, Lily came running toward us. She flung herself into Ethan's arms, sobbing with joy. "Ethan, I can finally marry you now." Ethan wrapped his arms around her, gently tapping her nose. "Silly girl," he murmured. "You were always the only one I wanted to marry. It was you who refused to believe it." Then Lily turned her head toward me, flashing a smug, triumphant smile. I didn't even spare them another glance. Without a word, I turned and walked away. Let them have their moment. A few days later, I was working late, sketching designs at my office when my best friend burst in, eyes gleaming with excitement. "Summer, Ethan and Lily are getting married," she announced dramatically. "Do you really have nothing to say about this?" I didn't even pause my work. "What's there to say?" I replied. Hearing my calm response, my best friend was practically fuming. "Are you serious? Lily ruined your wedding. Sure, in the end you dodged a bullet, but I still can't let this slide. We should do something at their wedding, some chaos at the very least." My hands continued moving across the paper, but my heart stirred slightly. The last incident had made things difficult for them, but it hadn't caused them real damage. It was time for the next step. I patted her hand reassuringly. "You don't have to do anything," I said with a small smile. "Just sit back and enjoy the show." The next afternoon, I had my lawyer send Ethan a formal notice. In my past life, the biggest crime I had been accused of was causing Lily to lose her baby. People had called me a murderer. Even walking down the street, strangers had recognized me and hurled those words at me. But the truth was, before the wedding, I had never even met Lily. I hadn't even known she existed. Her miscarriage had nothing to do with me. This time, after my rebirth, I had immediately launched a thorough investigation into what had really happened. Just a few days ago, I had finally received the results, and they were far more surprising than I had expected. That night, I turned off my phone early and slept peacefully. Meanwhile, chaos erupted at the Morgan household. Ethan's parents fought with Lily the entire night, their angry voices echoing through the house. They cursed her, cursed Ethan, declaring that under no circumstances would they ever allow Lily into their family. At first, Ethan tried to hold his ground. Even when his father pointed a finger at his face, calling him ungrateful, he refused to back down. For once, Ethan was actually showing some backbone. He knelt before his parents, his voice firm. "Mom, Dad, I've already failed Lily once and I lost our child because of it. This time, no matter what, I won't let Lily down again." At those words, Mr. Morgan nearly had a heart attack from sheer fury. Clutching his chest, he grabbed the stack of documents and hurled them at Ethan's face. Ethan confused them up. The moment he finished reading, his face turned deathly pale. Their child, the one Lily had claimed she lost because of me, turned out, after running away pregnant, Lily had been sleeping around with other men. The miscarriage had nothing to do with me. Afraid that Ethan would find out, she hadn't even gone to a proper hospital. Instead, she had secretly taken care of it at a shady little clinic. And on our wedding day, wanting to create a dramatic effect, she had gone to the market, bought chicken blood, and smeared it under her dress. Then she had cried to Ethan, blaming me for her miscarriage, saying it was because of my interference that she had been too stressed to keep the baby. I didn't bother paying attention to how Ethan handled things with Lily after that. I had better things to do. If I wasn't sketching new designs, I was deep in my studies. Even though my current job was going well after my rebirth, I wanted to challenge myself with something new. In my past life, many industry veterans had praised my talent, saying my designs had a unique soul to them. This time, I wasn't going to waste my skills. I wanted to build my own jewelry studio, create my own brand. For now, I needed to practice more, sketch more. Every second of my time was precious. The next morning, the moment I turned my phone on, it exploded with calls. The sharp, ear-piercing shriek on the other end nearly burst my eardrum. "Summer, it was you, wasn't it? You're the one ruining me." I chuckled coldly. "Are you a dog biting at people first thing in the morning?" Lily ignored me, her voice high-pitched and frantic. "Don't think I don't know you investigated me. You set me up. You're jealous that Ethan only loves me and not you. You want to destroy me. I won't let you take him away from me, never." She kept repeating the same lines over and over, sounding completely unhinged. I had no interest in entertaining her nonsense. I hung up and blocked her, but I had underestimated Lily's persistence. That very afternoon, she ambushed me at my usual cafe. For the first time, we sat down together face to face. Her hair was a mess. Her complexion was dull and gray compared to my relaxed state. She looked utterly miserable. "Theo belongs to me," she declared the moment I sat down. "No matter what you do, you won't take him from me." I suddenly found it funny. In my past life, I had once stood in front of her like this, desperate, pleading, begging her to tell the truth. Now the roles had reversed. I sighed, setting down my coffee cup. "Lil, you really are ridiculous. You went through all this trouble, yet Ethan still won't let you into his family. You follow him around all day, acting like a guard dog, but every time a woman walks by, you get territorial and start attacking. Aren't you exhausted?" I smiled, tilting my head slightly. "Unlike you, I don't have to lift a finger to get the Morgans' approval. I heard Ethan's parents still won't let you in. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if in a few days they come crawling to me, begging me to marry their son. After all, I am the best choice they have, and by then whatever you try to do, it'll be too late." Lily slammed her hands on the table, face twisted in fury. "You keep dreaming." I sighed dramatically. "Lily, the only one dreaming here is you. You really thought love was enough to keep Ethan? If this is the best you've got, then trust me, he'll get stolen by someone else sooner or later. If not by me, then by someone else." She sat there frozen. Time passed, customers came and went, and she still hadn't moved. For the next 2 weeks, both Ethan and Lily seemed to have disappeared. The next time I heard their names, it was because of their wedding announcement set for 3 days later. A rushed, haphazard ceremony like a joke. On the day of the wedding, the sun blazed mercilessly in the sky. I didn't attend the wedding. My best friend went early and livestreamed the whole thing for me instead. Meanwhile, I took my prepared documents and headed straight to the police station. Ethan and Lily had already moved in together a few days ago. Now they were holding a wedding, but the mandatory cooling-off period for our divorce still hadn't. It ended, according to my best friend. Their wedding was even more chaotic than mine had been. Just as they were on stage, their sweet love story, the police stormed in and arrested them. Ethan stood frozen in place, silent. Lily's eyes locked onto him, pleading desperately. "Talk to your parents," she hissed. "Use their connections, pay someone off, do whatever it takes, but we have to finish this wedding." Ethan lowered his head, his voice barely above a whisper. "Forget it." At those words, Lily lost it. Like a madwoman, she clawed and bit at him, screaming at the top of her lungs. Do you really think anyone else would want you? Do you think anyone else would ever marry you? Forget it. You dare to tell me to forget it? If this wedding doesn't happen today, Ethan, you know what the consequences will be. She trashed the entire stage, sending everything crashing to the floor. In the end, she had to be forcibly restrained and dragged away. I handed over all post-divorce matters to my lawyer. With that settled, I returned my full attention to finishing my designs. Once everything was wrapped up, I planned to take some time off. Coincidentally, my cousin had called to say my parents were finally done traveling and wanted to come home. I intended to spend time with them quietly, making up for all the regrets of my past life. But before that, there was still one last thing to settle with the Morgan family. The entire household was in shambles. Ethan's parents were scrambling, pulling every connection they had to find a decent lawyer. They had spent a ridiculous amount of money to temporarily bail Ethan and Lily out. The moment they were released, Lily insisted on rescheduling the wedding, but this time Ethan outright refused. His pride had been completely shattered. Holding another wedding now would only humiliate him further. His father, now looking years older with noticeably grayer hair, finally snapped. His eyes were red as he turned to Ethan. Ethan, he said, voice hoarse, since you were a child, your mother and I have always supported you in whatever you wanted to do. But ever since you got involved with Lily, our family has known nothing but disaster. We've learned our lesson. You must cut ties with her. There are plenty of good women out there. There's no reason you have to be with her. If you insist on staying with her. His father took a deep breath. Then I no longer have a son. Ethan's eyes turned red, but he didn't answer. Instead, he dropped to his knees. Mom, Dad, he said firmly, I have my reasons. I have to marry Lily. For the first time, his father looked at him with complete disappointment. He had him locked up at home, cutting off all communication with the outside world and most importantly, keeping him away from Lily. For 3 days, Lily searched every place Ethan could possibly be. She even showed up at my house, but she found nothing. On the 4th day, utterly humiliated and furious, she took things online. She released a video, one that changed everything. Ethan was desperate to lock me down completely, so one night at dinner, she drugged him and sent him into another man's hotel room. She recorded the whole thing and now she was using it to blackmail him. Marry me, she threatened, or I'll ruin you. Ethan may have resisted her before, but now he had no way out. What he didn't expect was that before he could even find a solution, she had already posted the video. I made sure the video spread even faster, pushing it to the top of trending searches. At the same time, I pulled back all the people I had stationed around them. I knew Ethan too well. His ego wouldn't allow him to ever be seen as weak. Before my parents returned, I purchased a new home. This time it was in an upscale neighborhood with far stricter security, high enough to ensure they wouldn't be disturbed by any unwanted visitors. A friend introduced me to a well-known expert in jewelry design. When he saw my work, he expressed great admiration for my designs and even agreed to personally mentor me. The only condition was that I had to move to his city. The night before my departure, I received a call from an unknown number. For a long time there was only silence. Just as I was about to hang up, a voice spoke. Summer, if we had actually gotten married back then, would everything after that have never happened? If Lily hadn't ruined our wedding, if she hadn't ruined me. Summer, I regret it. I let out a soft chuckle. There's no such thing as what if, Sean. We were never going to end up together, not in any lifetime. Then I hung up. He would never know. He would never understand that after experiencing such a tragic past life, even if Lily had never existed, I still would have never married him. For the next half a month, I immersed myself completely in learning under my mentor. Aside from necessary calls with my family, I barely touched my phone. When I returned, my best friend picked me up from the airport. The moment she saw me, she rushed forward, nearly tripping over herself in her urgency. Summer, Lily is dead. I froze for a second. I thought I had misheard. Seeing my disbelief, she quickly continued. After Ethan was finally released, he went searching for her everywhere. He finally found her hiding in a tiny rundown apartment, and the moment he saw her, he stabbed her over 10 times. She died on the spot. This time, no matter how much Ethan's parents begged, no matter how much they were willing to sacrifice, not even all their wealth could reduce his sentence. 3 months later, I officially launched my own design studio. I had built my own brand. On the day of my grand opening, I invited all my family and friends, the people who had always supported me. The last time they had all gathered like this, they had witnessed my humiliation. They had seen me at my lowest, standing at the ruins of a failed marriage. But this time they witnessed my success. They saw the bright future that belonged only to me, and would be a household name. Maybe everyone would know my designs. I would use my creations to tell the world we are not the side characters in someone else's story. We are not the villainesses meant to be cast aside, and we are not stepping stones for anyone else's love story. We are the main characters of our own lives.